Hello, welcome to the video. Today I'm going to be doing a tier list of all the different Star Wars TV shows and movies. So I found this tier list template already, so it's preloaded with all the different Star Wars TV shows and movies. Let's get started. Alright, so here we go. This is the tier list. So here's all the different Star Wars TV shows and movies. And we're just going to drag them in anywhere between S, which is the top, and then D, which is the bottom. So they might not be great, but they're still... it's all worthwhile Star Wars. Star Wars is amazing. So let's start off with the original, the OG, A New Hope, Star Wars. Where do we think it'll be? Now we don't want to miscategorize the OG. Now I personally love Star Wars. It was the first movie that I watched of Star Wars, got me into Star Wars. I'm going to put it in A tier. Star Wars, A New Hope, or just Star Wars, the very first one. Fantastic movie, can watch it over and over and over again. It can even stand alone, stand on its own right. You don't need anything else. Star Wars, perfect. Almost. Not S tier, because I think there's better, and that's the only reason I didn't put it in S, is because I think there's better movies. But in terms of Star Wars, this one, legacy, stands on its own right. Fantastic. Star Wars, The Holiday Special, I'm going to put that in D tier, I'm afraid. It's just, it's fun, it's wacky, but in terms of Star Wars, how often would I come home and want to watch the Star Wars Holiday Special? That's going in D. So we're starting off, get a good mix going. Now, Empire Strikes Back, fantastic movie. I'm going to put that in S tier. It's got to be. Empire is one of the greatest Star Wars movies, hands down. You can't even argue with me on that one. Just so much happens in that movie. They really took A New Hope, the first Star Wars movie, and turned it up. Turned up to 11 on that one. So that's good in S tier. First S tier one. I'm happy with it so far. Starting off nice and strong. Then Return of the Jedi. So the OG trilogy. We want to make sure we get this right. I'm going to go with A tier. And some people may hate me on this, but I'm going to go with A tier. It's good. It could have been better. And some of the scenes with the Ewoks is a little bit questionable. But yeah, all in all, great movie. But it's not. Empire Strikes Back is better in my opinion. Episode 1, Phantom Menace. Now this one is it got a lot of hate. But it was the first Star Wars movie that I went to see in the cinema. And I remember there was like some promotions on in Burger King. You got these little busts of it. It's quite memorable for me and nostalgic for my childhood. I don't want to put it in D. It's not as bad as the Star Wars Holiday Special, and it has redeeming moments like the duel between Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Darth Maul. I'm going to put it in C because it's the weakest of the prequel trilogy, but it's got its moments. You know what I mean? Attack of the Clones, like Phantom Menace, has its weak points. It's a slow burn, but then once you hit that second half, there's some really fantastic moments. There's also the fight on Kamino, some of the ship battles. You've got the fact that Jango Fett's in there and he just, adds something cool to it. I'm going to put it in B tier because it's better than Phantom Menace. It's not as good as the others. It's not as good as Star Wars or Return of the Jedi. Now here's one. Star Wars The Clone Wars TV show. This is not the Clone Wars that you probably have watched unless you were around my age. Then this was on Cartoon Network, and this was the original animated Clone Wars, which I bloody loved, and I would watch it again. I'm going to put that in B tier because it was great. The animations were spot on. Some of the character designs were a little bit quirky, but the Clone Wars TV show was fantastic. It's not necessarily canon anymore, I think, because the new Clone Wars TV show sort of retconned a lot of it. But it's fantastic. If you get the chance to watch it, watch it. Episode 3, S tier. S tier. And I know there'll be people who disagree, but Episode 3 is one of my favourite Star Wars movies. In fact, it is my favourite Star Wars movie. Basically, it's got everything. It's got Anakin's turn to the dark side. It's got Obi-Wan Kenobi in his prime on the council. It's got duel after duel. It's got dogfight after dogfight with the space battles. It's got, you know, the full transformation into Darth Vader. It's got everything. It's fantastic. And I went recently to go see it when it was its anniversary in the cinema, and it was still just as great. Still loved it. That's going S tier. Clone Wars. This is the Clone Wars movie, which wasn't that great. I'm going to put it in C tier. It was okay. The Clone Wars TV show was much better, but you have to watch the Clone Wars movie. Well, you don't necessarily have to, but it helps if you've seen the Clone Wars movie to sort of appreciate it. But it's not great in terms of movies. It's fun to watch, but it's not on the level of the Clone Wars animated TV show even. But then we go to the Clone Wars TV show, the digitized version, the latest version, the version that you probably recognize. S tier, because it's fantastic. Again, it has everything. It has some of the plot points. There's some with like mind-altering bloody parasites, and there's somewhere it's clone on clone. There's Darth Maul comes back. There's Ahsoka Tano. Her character arc is insane. I could go on all day about the Clone Wars, but that's S tier. It's fantastic. If you like Star Wars, you need to watch the Clone Wars TV show. They're only short episodes, so don't be put off by the fact that there's plenty of seasons out there. But it's fantastic. You need to watch it. Really expands the Star Wars universe. Rogue One. Where do we put Rogue One? It's got to be A tier, right? It's got to be A. Or is it S? Rogue One is fantastic and stands alone. But is it better than A New Hope and Return of the Jedi? A tier. A tier. It almost made it to S. But I think if you were to only watch Rogue One without any of the other stuff, it's very dependent on other material. It kind of it is and it isn't. It's a great movie on its own, but it's not. If you take away the Star Wars, it's not S tier, if that makes any sense. I think I'm just looking for an excuse not to put it on the same peg as these ones. Star Wars Rebels, not as good as Clone Wars, but fantastic in its own right. It's not. Rebels is good. It's going A. Rebels is good. It has some episodes that feel like filler episodes, but when Rebels is good, it's good. Obviously. But Rebels opens up so much, and other Star Wars shows are pulling material out of Rebels, like Ahsoka. And it's just, some episodes are fantastic. The art design is a little bit different than the Clone Wars, which took me a little bit of getting used to. But Star Wars Rebels, definitely recommend. We're moving into sequel territory now here. So The Force Awakens, actually, pretty good movie. I'm going to put it in B. It is a reimagination of A New Hope. There's no getting around that. It's basically, if the whole sequel trilogy feels like a soft reboot rather than a direct follow-up. And Force Awakens, there's so many parallels with A New Hope. It's crazy. It basically is a new generation's New Hope. And some things they did right. Finn's character arc in that movie, if you isolate it, was really good. Rey's character was interesting at the start. Kylo Ren's on-screen presence was fantastic. It was great. It was really good. I enjoyed it, and I still enjoy it. And for that reason, I'm putting it in B. The Last Jedi is not as good as Force Awakens, so it's going in C. It's not on the same level as the holiday special, because I would rewatch it multiple times. There's some fantastic fight scenes in The Last Jedi. There's some great cinematography, but it's just not. I think it is the weakest out of the sequel trilogy, The Last Jedi. So I'm going to put that in C. And then I'm going to go to Rise of Skywalker. Now, The Rise of Skywalker, you may be shocked because it got a lot of hate, but it has some fantastic moments. So I'm going to put it in B. It has its moments. I mean, the sequel trilogy looks beautiful. Obviously, it's going to look better than the prequels and the originals because it's in a new era where there's bigger budgets, bigger special effects. But in terms of storytelling, character arcs, where the characters eventually went, where you thought they were going to go from The Force Awakens, it sort of had an identity crisis, the sequels. And so for that reason, I can't put it as high as the originals. There's a bit of continuity error. I enjoy them and they have their moments, but they're not as good as those, in my opinion. This is my tier list. Solo, a Star Wars story. Do you know, I enjoyed Solo, but it's out of the Star Wars movies, it's the one that I watch the least. However, every time I think about it, I think the movie is actually, it's underrated. It's actually really good. There's some good moments, apart from the fact the way he gets his name Solo, I think is a bit trash. But in terms of movie, it's not a bad movie. It's not as good as Rogue One. I don't want to put everything in B. I'm going to put it in C. Because, yeah, I think it's on par with those kind of movies. Mandalorian. Fantastic. Fantastic Star Wars that I would watch over and over and over again. Now, here's the question. Is it better than Rebels? Is it better than Rogue One? Is it better than A New Hope? I'm going to say it is. And I know it sounds kind of cliche because everyone loves Mandalorian and it probably is overhyped. But it's also fantastic. It's a Western in the Star Wars universe. It's something about it they've done right, and I hope it doesn't fade in, the movie. I hope they don't lose their steam. I hope it continues. But really good. I do love The Mandalorian. Visions. Now, Visions. How do I do this? So Visions, I enjoyed watching once. I'm not going to go back and watch it again, so I'm going to put it in D. Visions was good. If you haven't seen Visions, it's basically Star Wars episodes created by other creatives, so people who might have an anime style or someone who might have, varying different styles of storytelling, having a bash at Star Wars episodes. And so there's some really cool stories in there, one-time stories. But I've not said to myself, I'm going to go back and rewatch any Visions. So I'm going to put it on D. If that makes sense. Book of Boba Fett. Criminally underrated. I thought it was good, but I haven't rushed back to watch it. So I'm going to put it in B. I thought the book... A lot of people I've heard say that they despise the Book of Boba Fett and it was terrible and they butchered his character. I disagree. It shows good character development. There's some good characters in there, some interesting scenes. I enjoyed it. I hope we get more, but it's not on par with The Mandalorian for sure. Bad Batch, A tier. Bad Batch is fantastic. If you enjoyed the Rebels and you enjoyed the Clone Wars, Bad Batch is another one to go and watch. It's basically it's a group of clones that all had something wrong with them. Something gone wrong with the cloning process or whatever. And they have like unique abilities. One's called Tech, one's called Wrecker. He's big and strong. It's really good, really good. Like a really good squad of misfits. If you like that sort of thing, then you like the Clone Wars, you'll love Bad Batch. My boy Obi-Wan Kenobi, my favourite Star Wars character. And it's going to pain me to do this because it was a great series with great moments, but I don't think it's S tier. I'm going to go with A, and I hope we get more because I love Obi-Wan Kenobi and I love expanding that story. I loved I think it was Rebels, when we saw Obi-Wan Kenobi in Tatooine and he faced off again with Maul. I want to expand more on what he did in the desert and all that beautiful stuff. So Obi-Wan Kenobi, A tier, I want to see more. Andor, S. Goes without saying. I don't even need to say anything. Andor is... best Some of the best Star Wars I've seen ever. And you can watch it without Star Wars and it'd be fantastic cinema. You can watch it knowing Star Wars and absorb the rest of the world that it's in, and it just makes it so much better. And even people who don't like Star Wars, like Andor is such a great TV show. Everyone should watch it. And it's so relevant to some of the political themes that are in there as well. Tales of the Jedi, actually really good. I actually really enjoyed that. Expands on things like Qui-Gon Jinn with his master, Count Dooku, and other stories. Oh. B. It's going to be B tier. I wouldn't say it's better than Book of Boba Fett, but really good, and you should watch it. Some people tend to stay away from like the animated CGI Star Wars shows, and I think you're really missing out if you do that, because some of them are absolutely great storytelling. Ahsoka, another that was really good. It was really good. You have to... I find that you have to have seen Rebels to really appreciate Ahsoka. Anyone who hadn't seen Rebels didn't really seem to grasp or take to Ahsoka as much as I did. I'm going to put it in B. I hope we see more in season 2. And I know it's going to take off in a really good direction. But I think it was a very slow burn. But Ahsoka is good. Don't get mistaken. Tales of the Empire. Whoa. I really like that one. That one had like... Is this the one with Grievous in it? Yeah. And Asajj Ventress, I believe. This was a good one. I watched it recently. But probably on par with Tales of the Jedi. It's going in B. It's going in B. Yeah, I'm happy with that one. Acolyte. This one will cause some... this one will cause a stir. Acolyte got a lot of hate. Yet it had some amazing fight scenes. It had some amazing characters. I think it's misunderstood. And I know... And some of the feedback is justified, and it's not my favourite Star Wars show by a long shot. But it's not D tier. I'm going to put it in C. It's probably on par with Solo and The Last Jedi. I hope, if they make a season 2, I hope it picks it up. And the performance from the characters was amazing. I think they did really well. Skeleton Crew, here's where I'm going to embarrass myself. I haven't actually seen this. So I'm going to put it on par with Acolyte based on what I've heard. I need to go and watch this one. Although feel free to correct me in the comments if you think it needs to go higher or lower, and if you think I should actually spend my time watching it. I've heard rumblings, and for some reason it's just not... You know, I rushed and watched Tales of the Empire, for God's sake, but I didn't watch Skeleton Crew. It's just... Something about it hasn't appealed to me, but it's Star Wars, I'll give it a go. Tales of the Underworld, I'm going to put it on par with the others. I think that... Yeah, so Tales of the Underworld is the one with the Asajj Ventress, and actually, it's probably better than Tales of the Jedi and Tales of the Empire. At times. But it's not on par with Obi-Wan Kenobi or Bad Batch. Maul. Now, Maul Shadow Lord's in here. In this template, and I didn't vet the template. I should have took it out because I haven't watched that yet. I don't even think it's out. But I suspect it's going to go up here somewhere. But I think it would be unjust to put something that is unreleased or that I haven't seen above others. So I'm going to, based on my excitement and what I've seen, I'm going to put it in A. Seems silly, but Maul is one of my favourite characters. He's one of my favourite villains. So he's going to go there until I'm proven otherwise. Mandalorian and Grogu. Again, I'm going to base this one on my excitement. That's going to go in A. I think as much as Mandalorian the series is great, I'm worried about the movie. I'm worried they might butcher it for the feature length. I hope I'm wrong. But again, I don't want to put anything I haven't seen in S tier. I think that's a bit unfair. And then Star Wars Starfighter again, something that's unreleased. So we'll ignore that one. Based on what I've seen, I might put it in B though. So there you go. There's my tier list. What do you think? Do you agree? What would you put in S tier and what would you put in D tier? What do you think about Maul, Mandalorian, and Starfighter? How do you think they're going to go? Well, let me know your thoughts. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.